Hey, Paul.
How you guys? How's it going?
Good, man. Solid week,
Yeah.
as always.
Yeah, absolutely.
Early in the morning, so just to give everyone an idea of Bryan Ryan's optimum Thursday would be to head off to Hangar G5, have a couple of cold ones, shoot back to the studio, then do the episode.
Yeah.
So if you notice that there's some episodes where we're a bit more jolly, yeah, that's normally the case. But the way things are lately, bloody early in the morning, here we are, because we've got a busy day ahead. But I'd rather have it this way than not have anything to do.
Yeah, look, it's our commitment to making sure that we get the show out every week. And, yeah, it can't always be fun and games, I suppose.
They didn't tell us that when we signed up for it.
No.
Yeah, and also just excuse my voice, just running a bit of the vid, I think.
Oh, you're clapping a bit of a rhino?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but anyway, let's jump into it. I thought we could start off with some of the OEM news this week. Quite a bit out there. Obviously, they've all just released their financials. And let's start with Embraer. So second quarter 2023, Embraer's delivered 47 jets. That's a 47% increase from last year. And the backlog order standing now $17.3 billion by the end of the quarter. So the big buys there, American Airlines, they've ordered 7 E175s for Envoy, SKS, Scoot, and Royal have also placed orders for the E2s. And quite a lot, NetJets contract 250 jet options with Embraer valued over $5 billion. NetJets they're growing rapidly, eh?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's the private jet market, man.
Yeah.
It's,
You see so much negative stuff out there with the private jets, particularly the smaller ones. You see these morons that keep throwing orange paint and shit like that.
I don't know what they're doing, man. But, no, I mean, I think, with the way business is booming again and the private jet market, it's thriving off people needing to get around. I mean, it's awesome. And I suppose a lot of the older jets, need to be replaced and retired now. So these newer, more efficient ones are coming out, and they're more attractive for the likes of NetJets, and that operate a massive fleet of them. So,
do we have any on NetJets? It's like a contract-based thing, or what's the story there? I haven't really looked at how
I think it kind of runs like a subscription sort of service almost. You pay a sort of fee every month, and then you have access to.
So your business has access to a certain amount of hours or something a month?
Or miles or whatever the case may be. And you just basically phone up, listen, I need a jet to Cape Town now. If that was the case, and they get everything ready for you. Off you go.
Not the worst gig, eh?
No, listen, I mean, nothing beats being able to travel privately like that. You avoid all the terminal crap, the queues, checking in your luggage.
No, you're right.
I mean, I think once you've had a taste of that, flying an airline is like, there's no way.
Yeah, premium economy ain't gonna cut it. Eh?
No, not even close.
On my last trip now to France, we're in premium economy. That cabin is so small. I mean, it's got about, on the 777-300, it's got about, 8 rows of seats.
Is that all?
Yeah, and the worst part about it, with the new cabin layout there, you're still sharing the bathrooms with economy.
Yeah.
But there's only 2 in that galley. So you've got all that big economy sort of cabin.
Yeah.
Where everyone's going to the toilet up front. And then you got the premium economy cabin, same bathrooms. There's always a queue at those bathrooms. So if you are booking a premium economy ticket, make sure you're sitting a bit forward in that cabin. Otherwise, you've got people waiting in your aisle the whole night for the bathroom.
Kind of makes you wonder, what you're actually paying for. Are you paying all that extra money just for a wider seat and slightly better food, I suppose? Because I don't know if you saw it earlier this week. It was doing the rounds on social media, but there's this travel blogger dude on YouTube, and he flew on one of our local airlines and made a scathing review.
Oh, really?
On the whole flight. From the check-in, he said the check-in staff were rude, the cabin crew. But he mentions this business class effort, but like Saks used to do. It's the same seats, but with this rinky-dink curtain, which they leave open the whole flight. And he said, everyone's coming from the back to the front bathroom anyway. So it's like, what are you actually paying for?
Yeah. What did King Julian say? Whatever happened to the separation of the classes? Yeah, it is a bit of a, I don't know. Look, on the long haul flights, what's silly now, that Air France seat, it's actually a really nice seat. It's got the footrest and it reclines quite drastically. But the problem is, unless the oak in front of you is, if I recline my seat, the guy behind has to recline his because you go right into space. But if you can't put your feet out straight, so the footrest is kind of
it gets in your way.
Gets in your way, so you have to put that down. But I don't know.
I suppose it still is.
It does make a difference.
Yeah. It has to be a little bit better than that normal economy. So I get it on the long haul flights, it makes sense. But like these regional sort of efforts,
come on,
it's a bit ridiculous actually.
Yeah, something like Link to Cape Town on their 190 is very comfortable in economy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Bombardier, they have hit their target of 138 aircraft. And the company reported aftermarket revenues of a new high, $428 million. How are these numbers, eh?
It's crazy.
19% increase year on year. They're doing really well. Staying with Bombardier, though, in an aircraft close to us, the CRJ200 in the Delta livery, we ain't going to be seeing it anymore.
That's pretty sad, eh?
It is, because whenever you see it, if you Google search a CRJ200, 9 out of 10 of them are Delta.
Yeah.
And reason being, Delta do not want any single class airlines in their fleet.
Yeah. Well, a positive spin to that would probably be that they'll change the Delta livery for semi-colors.
Yeah.
The rate they're going.
True. Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah, who's that operator? SkyWest that operates for Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah, true story. Because they're growing their fleet very, very rapidly. But also on a positive spin, they're going to be replaced by 700s and 900s. So it's not like they're getting rid of the CRJ.
Yeah, it's good. At least the airline still operating some proper airplanes.
But that CRJ200 has been a bit of a workhorse. So it's done well.
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, once you've flown the 700 and 900, the
it is a bit of a...
but still, I mean...
It's like a Nissan 1400 bucks compared to a Ranger.
Shucks. But still a lacquer area nonetheless.
It is.
I mean, lots of hours in that seat and love it.
Nice machine.
Yeah.
Airbus A350 orders keep coming in. Another order for 10 of them in July from 2 undisclosed customers. In the same month, Airbus also booked orders for 36 aircraft from Turkish budget carrier Pegasus Airlines and Iceland Air's 13 321neos. They're making a shift from being an all Boeing operator, so more good news there for Airbus. And they're doing really well. By July, Airbus's net order for the year reached 1,101 aircraft, including over 950 320neos. And I mean, they just keep going. Then you carry on Boeing. Boeing, you still battle to find positive stories. I suppose they're going to be wearing this for a long time. But there's more issues now because the certification for the MAX 7 is further delayed. So there's an airworthiness directive for the 737 MAX fleet addressing a potential risk where the engine inlet could overheat. While no incidents have been reported on the 1,300 delivered 737 MAXs, the issue has further delayed the certification process for the 73 MAX 7. Boeing was reportedly aware of this overheating issue during the development of the MAX 7 and 10. All right, so the problem comes in when the anti-ice system is operated in dry air, which may cause the engine inlet to detach from the nacelle and hit the airframe.
Yeah, reading that, I still thought, how are you going to build that into the QRH? Yeah. Can I have the QRH checklist, please, for an engine inlet nacelle detachment?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be ultra sharp to make sure that, I'm sure it switches off automatically when you're in dry air, but knowing Boeing, it's probably not. It's probably a
No, there'll be
manual
a big clunky metal switch somewhere for it.
Yeah. But then you'd have to be quite sharp, making sure as soon as you through the clouds that you turn that off.
Yeah. Look, I suppose at least they're identifying these issues and doing something about it, rather than like sort of with the MK's issue, give it a bit of an overlook and then it bites them later on. So they're being ultra cautious.
And they're vocal about it too. They come out and they say they've got this issue, this is what it is, and this is what you're doing about it. Boeing's adjusted its timeline for the MAX 7 service introduction with Southwest now to 224.
That just keeps getting delayed.
That is.
It's a bit like the sex liquidation.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
All right. Another story. Pilots Association blasts Cathay for gaslighting Hong Kong by causing its own shortages. So this is all about basically Cathay, bit of an overreaction to what was happening. We know all about it. And they sort of making out that Cathay is the victim of the rules and procedures that were put in place by
Hong Kong.
Mm. And they're saying it's not. Actually, you just decided to go and get rid of all your contract, all your pilots and, anyone you didn't need at the time, leave. Yeah. And now they can't get people to come back.
Yeah.
So they're blaming the
actual airline.
It's pretty straightforward. The Pilots Association is blaming the actual airline.
Yeah. So they, in a nutshell, saying, listen, you guys were arseholes to all your crew, faxed everyone.
Yeah.
Really,
I don't think they said that in the letterhead, but they...
Yeah, I'm just putting it in terms that I would understand. And, they certainly don't seem to be making things attractive enough for guys to want to go back, from what I hear on the street. But
no, you don't hear many people sort of... Hong Kong, well, I suppose Cathay is nowhere near in the radar like it used to be in terms of recruitment opportunities.
It's always been funny, though, because, I mean, they've had that, like, contract scheme where you had old contracts, the guys that were there, some guys that are still there are all on those old...
Yes,
contract A, which like pays you $5 million a month kind of thing. Or you can, if you join now, you get contract D, which is like $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's like...
I had a few Cathay guys making the move to Oz as well. So that gives you an idea. And I presume the move to Oz there is probably to places like Qantas Link.
Yeah.
So it's they obviously have their own internal issues, but I suppose a lot of this is a time game as well. You wait 2 or 3 years. Where Cathay going to be in 2 or 3 years? Maybe they back to where they were 2017.
And then it does become the more attractive thing. Yeah, so exactly. Not totally dissing it, but it is the way it is right now.
They might have to. You talk about contract D. All right, they might have to start giving everyone those nice contracts again just to get people to come in.
Yeah.
But anyway, in reply, Cathay said the entire aviation ecosystem, both in Hong Kong and globally, continues to face significant operational constraints caused by multiple factors, including aircraft and component production issues, supply chain issues, and a shortage of various aviation-related skills, i.e. people that can actually fly the fucking airplane.
Yeah, that is becoming a problem globally.
It is. And now they're trying to solve it. I mean, look, in researching the podcast, it's quite hard to not come up against a pilot shortage article and then what they're going to do about it. So there's all this stuff with single pilot operations, particularly on the 350, and this Dragonfly scenario, and using AI and all the rest. And then someone commented on LinkedIn, good comment, and said, it's a lot of this is to do with the impending shortage. But why go that far? It's like sticking a plaster on a broken arm. Why not just start from a grassroots level, get the people trained properly, invest in the people, invest in pilots from a young age, post leaving school or whatever, and create this sort of pipeline. But no, it must be, get rid of the pilot because you don't need the pilot. The reality is,
you're always going to need pilots.
You're going to need a pilot for a long time. Ryan, all these things that are, they're wonderful and we are making big strides. I mean, you still get issues with them. You still get issues, using these programs on your computer and all the rest. So you ain't going to be seeing me jump in a pilotless aircraft for a long time.
Well, case in point, I mean, no doubt it's going to obviously rely on some sort of internet connectivity.
Exactly.
And we're seeing it right now at the moment.
Or electricity.
Yeah. So that ain't going to work, in South Africa.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, internet is another thing. We're relying on internet connectivity through these undersea cables. And a couple of days ago, there's one that's broken somewhere near Cameroon in the ocean bed somewhere. I don't know if you've noticed how slow the internet here is lately. And it's as a cause of that, trying to connect this to an A350.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But still.
Somewhere there's going to be issues because there's going to have to communicate to the ground somewhere. Can you imagine?
We still are not there.
No ways.
We're not there yet. I mean, the issues even with us, one of the reasons why, we actually wanted to get away from the interview type thing on the podcast at some point is because you're so reliant on all these external things working.
Yeah.
One of those little things doesn't work and you can't actually host a remote podcast. So, if we battle hosting a relatively simple podcast, I mean, imagine something in the aviation industry and all the compliance issues that are going to have to go with it.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. But anyway, that wasn't even one of the stories for the week. We just threw that in there. Virgin Atlantic pilots strike over fatigue.
That's another one that's coming up more.
It's coming up more and more.
Ugh.
Might even make the name of the show. I don't know. But it's a serious problem. Strike action supported by 96% of the pilots. Basically, the issues at heart are rostering arrangements that were put in place during COVID, which came to an end in December. Virgin says is willing to enter into talks in the coming weeks. So you're seeing this a lot. All these arrangements were put in place during COVID. Pilots at that stage were going to accept anything. It's better than being stuck on the ground.
Yeah.
It was all about job security, getting back in the air. And unfortunately, now a lot of these airlines haven't adjusted their roster patterns and arrangements that were made at that time, or at least haven't gone back to the original agreements.
Yeah.
And it does seem a little bit more of an issue in the UK than it does elsewhere, and I suppose Europe as well. But you're seeing it more and more. Next story, sticking with pilot fatigue. NTSB blames pilot fatigue for FedEx Boeing 757 landing on the wrong runway.
Yeah. I mean, that's blatant fatigue. You look at if you read that story, I mean, they were cleared for runway 18 right.
Yep.
And they had the heads-up display. I mean, all the cues were there that they were landing on the wrong runway. And they looked straight past it. So for both pilots to ignore those visual cues, it's pure fatigue. Pure fatigue.
Found this quite interesting. FedEx approach to fatigue management came under scrutiny. While the company uses the Karolinska sleepiness scale, the KSS, and collaborates with the ALPA on fatigue risk management, there were concerns. The NTSB noted that pilots weren't informed about assumptions in the fatigue assessment scores, like expected napping. Even though the captain tried to nap during his break, he couldn't sleep, which increased his KSS score to a high-risk level. Additionally, an oversight from the lone air traffic controller at the airport who failed to monitor the landing after granting clearance was also considered a contributing factor to this mishap. Now, I wear this Whoop band.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things with that, and it's quite remarkable, is sometimes you actually think you've had a good night's rest, or at least you've managed to relax, and it comes up like you've got like 20% recovery. And when on this last trip to France, coming back was the first time I'd worn it in an aircraft. Man, does it affect your recovery the next day?
Yeah,
now, it's obviously the same for the crew.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the captain is getting a bit of rest there, but how much rest do you really, really get?
I don't think you get the adequate amount of rest. I mean, come on, be honest.
Look, Spurrie's version 1, when you had 4 first officers making your bed and, all the rest. But I mean,
you get the best sleep.
But you don't really get a good rest.
No.
So you are going to see these more. And obviously with those contributing factors of a lack of pilots and a lack of roster maneuverability, it's only going to get worse. So it's a bit of a problem. Next story: Uncleared Learjet departed in front of an aircraft flaring on intersecting runway.
Yeah, it's just it's ridiculous. I mean, you want to think to yourself, why are people making such stupid mistakes? Came out, it's not in our list here as well, but was it a Turkish Airlines or Air Algeria? I didn't bring it up here, but one of them went and taxied their jet into a light pole again a few days ago.
Yeah,
Like things like that.
it's happening too much.
It's crazy.
But again, I mean, you could piece these last three stories. It's all to do with maybe being a bit tired and
Yeah.
day
overworked.
7, overworked, all the rest, underpaid, the usual things. But yeah, that's a problem. And well done to was it JetBlue crew? They picked it up. I found something strange here. Let me find it here.
You're talking about the video that
The
showed
video.
the Learjet entering
Yeah.
and highlighted the moments leading up to the Embraer 190's crew's decision to abort the landing.
Yeah.
Something to do with, they said there that
The video showed the Learjet entering, crossing the runway. Okay. But the video, it was something like in the policy.
yeah, it says the entire incident was captured by video by a jump seat occupant in the Embraer 190, an A320 first officer who was recording the nighttime landing approach in accordance with JetBlue's policy.
Why would that be in the policy?
I think that's bollocks.
Hey?
That's bollocks.
No, I mean,
I think that might be a bit of duff reporting, which is going to come up again later in something I noticed in one of our other articles is,
also wrong.
yeah, I think some of the people writing these news stories are about as,
Yeah, aviation, not all the aviation news journalists are the sharpest, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Not
But not like the team on Bryan Air, never get it wrong. FAA warns airlines about fake Russian TCAS parts. So there's fake TCAS parts doing the round. The parts sold throughout the US with counterfeit identification plates are distributed by Aviation Parts LLC of Moscow, Russia. Beware of your fake TCAS parts.
Yeah, how are you going to know?
How are you going to know?
This was purchased at the flea market.
Yeah, probably when it starts saying traffic, and then it tells you to fly left or right or something. More Russian news. Aeroflot, they just saw me turning their brakes off on their aircraft.
So this is what I was talking about. Like, can you explain to me how we do that again?
Yeah, you know what this is? I'm sure what they were trying to say was they've asked the pilots to turn off their auto brake systems.
I thought as much. But I mean,
But the article says, due to difficulties in obtaining maintenance parts for foreign aircraft, Russia's national carrier Aeroflot is operating at least 9 planes without brakes, instructing pilots to turn them off. This includes 4 Airbus aircraft and 5 777s. The airline warned pilots of the risks associated with this, especially during landings on wet runways with crosswinds, and highlighted potential overruns.
yeah.
I mean, that is such bullshit. I mean, they've obviously said turn off your auto brakes so that it doesn't hammer the brakes to make intersections and things like that.
But how would you even go and write something like that?
I don't know.
Huh?
But I mean, it's from a reputable source. It's not like
Reputable my ass. But
yeah. Should we jump to some African news?
let's do it.
Airlink have been in the spotlight this week. The Competition Tribunal has begun hearings against Airlink over allegations of excessive and predatory pricing on the Joburg-Umtata-Joburg route. This is from a 2018 investigation. Investigation found that Airlink's pricing strategies led to the exit of its rival Blue Crane. No, that's not what led to the exit of its rival Blue Crane. Between 2012 and 2016, Airlink was accused of overcharging customers. When Blue Crane entered the market in 2016, Airlink allegedly reduced its prices to force its competitor out by January 2017, and then resumed its excessive pricing. What do you have to say about that?
Like, whatever.
Blue Crane was Caesar's little setup. Huh?
Yeah. It was about as successful as everything else that she attempted.
Yeah.
But business is business, man.
Tell me now, when you something like that. So there's a competitor. So you've got a business and you're selling muffins. You sell them for $20.
Yeah.
All right. And then your neighbor starts selling the muffins as well. All right. And they sell theirs for $15.
Automatically going to drop your
You're
price.
going to drop your price.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And then hopefully you make better muffins. So everyone comes to you.
My muffins will be bigger, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And better.
And you knock them out of business, and then you're going to start pushing your prices. I mean, isn't that how business works?
That's what I said. You know, you ask any successful businessman, they're going to tell you.
Are Airlink supposed to pretend that, no, they weren't doing that? I mean, obviously that's what they were doing. That's what their shareholders would expect, surely.
I'm pretty sure it's happening right now as well.
Of course it's happening right now.
with all the route expansions and everything that's happening right now, the price was...
That's why you need competition.
Exactly.
I mean, thank goodness we've got some competition here locally. I mean, you know...
It's needed.
It's needed.
Yeah.
How important are SEME in the local market for that? I mean, if Link are prone to jumping their prices up, which obviously they are, they're a private business, but you've got SEME there as they can't push them up too much. You know, SEME might jump on that route and then offer. You know, and now you've got a situation where the likes of SEME are offering actually a really, really good product, and people have flown with them a lot. They know they're reliable and all the rest. So.
And it's just going to get more and more cutthroat, especially with all the regional routes opening up. I mean, like just this week, SEME have started the Joburg Vic Falls route, which Sapphire are about to jump on. So, yeah, watch the space, I'm sure.
Yeah, watch the space.
But it's needed, yeah.
Sapphire goes regional. That's what you're talking about, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, so... pretty weird to think that all this time has gone by and, you know, Sapphire's just remained a domestic low-cost carrier. But 4 new regional routes, Harare, Livingston, Vic Falls, and Maputo. Operations from Joburg, Harare, Joburg, Livingston will start on October the 2nd. And Joburg, Vic Falls will begin on October 3rd with thrice weekly operations. Joburg, Maputo will start on October the 5th with 4 weekly flights. Again, really good news. More competition for Airlink.
Yeah. So
regional such a... Surely it's a money spinner, particularly with SAA in the market. I mean, because SAA were flying to so many of those regional destinations. I mean, if you think Airlink have been price gouging and all that stuff, I mean...
Yeah, the people that should be sitting in the competition commission would be...
I mean, how many companies have closed down because of those oaks?
Exactly.
But anyway, but they're so useless. No one flies with them regionally, so it's obviously opened up the market for the likes of Sapphire and that to fly to these places, which is really good.
No, it's brilliant. So I just hope to see lots more of it. And I mean, hopefully, eventually it will lead to bigger gauge aircraft, perhaps some even newer equipment.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I hope so. I'd like to think so. That's me being somewhat optimistic.
But like Maxes or something bigger.
Something like that, or maybe something bigger eventually. I mean, you know...
Nationwide flew to Gatwick on a 7.6. Surely, at some point, we could have a low-cost option on a Fly Sapphire Trip 7 to Gatwick or Stansted, or
it must be something like
some
that
option like that in the future. Hey,
I think that, and also I find it fascinating that there hasn't been a local South African operator that's gotten hold of a bigger gauge cargo aircraft and started operating cargo. I mean, have you checked how much cargo is going in and out of South Africa at the moment? And these international carriers are killing it.
Yeah. Cargo slim massive market. Yeah, you're right. There's nothing there. You got the likes of all the Kenyan cargo operators and but nothing really locally. Interesting.
It is.
Job opportunity.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's just throwing it out there.
Business opportunity. Anyway, Kirby Gordon, the marketing officer at Sapphire, highlighted the airline's commitment to aiding the recovery of tourism in Africa as it continues to focus on customer service. Despite its rapid growth, the airline increased its flight operations by 47% between 2019 and 2022, with further plans of expansion this year. Yeah, they have expanded rapidly.
Yeah.
And Kirby's right. They have managed to continue with their good customer service. because they are still the easiest airline to book a ticket with. And they're very rarely late.
And it's a good service.
Yeah. They're a very good airline, eh?
No, look, proud supporter of SAFE and,
And everyone flying there.
Yeah, absolutely. Got lots of mates there, so good for them.
Let's go to an ANC story here. Margate Airport has announced its decision to undergo a downgrade in its airport status, effective immediately. The decision to be made after careful consideration of various factors impacting the airport's safety status as aligned to deteriorating runway conditions that would place arrival and departure aircraft of a certain type and weight in a compromised position of safety.
I believe this was sorted out a day or two ago.
Okay.
So it all had something to do with some equipment that was...
Okay, but that's what I want to ask now. So it says here the reason for this was the runway. So they've just retarded the runway.
I think that was one of the issues.
Yeah. So is Seme going back there now?
I believe they have, yeah.
Okay, that's good news.
So,
because it said, despite the downgrade, Seme remains committed to providing a safe and secure environment. I believe they just flew everyone to King Shaka.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Margate's a real viable tourist attraction, and that area needs people going in. Otherwise, you could foresee that area deteriorating very, very quickly.
Very rapidly. I mean, it's a long drive, eh? From
it's a hell of a
Durban
long drive, and it's a dangerous drive.
Exactly.
So you need that service, and I believe it was popular.
No, I can imagine. I mean,
I hope that is up and running again.
Yeah, no, it'd be sad to just let that, get destroyed by some other ANC cadres.
Yeah. Money was obviously being siphoned somewhere else in preparation for the elections. But, good news. And obviously mentioning Seme there, how important a role do they play in flying to those types of airfields?
Yeah. Yeah, they're the only ones doing it at the moment, so they need it.
They need it. Time for an advisory.
100%.
All right, so it's an oldie but a goodie. I heard it again the other day on a movie I was watching, actually. And it's one of these things we've all heard. It's always there. It's a story that you tell your kids. And but we don't always, follow our own advice with it. And it comes from an old Cherokee teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and in every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one that you feed.
Food for thought, yeah.
And I like that one because we've all got this thing going on all the time.
Yeah.
And I've just picked up lately, there's a lot of tension in South Africa at the moment.
Mm.
There's a lot of divide going on. Gareth Cliff was speaking about it on Friday. It's almost like things just rapidly get worse. There was all this stuff going on in Cape Town over the last few days with taxi strikes and things like that. And they create so much anxiety for people, even if it's not spoken about. And there's this real tension. And I think sometimes you have to go back and remind yourself, what are you going to feed? What are you going to shoot out there on social media? What message are you going to give across? And it's so important that I can read something like that and, try and promote a bit of positivity, but then I walk out the door and straight away I'm all negative and I'm feeding that bad wolf,
Yeah.
And I think it's important to keep that in mind and feed the good side of you because everyone's got that and make sure that wolf actually wins. But then when you start feeling that you get going down the wrong path, then have a bit of a reset.
Yeah.
A reset is an important thing, man.
That's so true, because it goes about sort of getting worked up about things that you can control and things that you can't. And I think sometimes it's important to a certain degree. You can control your thoughts and emotions, and like you quite rightly said, maintaining positive, good affirmations and just keeping the bright side up. It's very, very important.
It is.
For you as well as the people that feed off your energy. So that's a great advisory, guys. I like it.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Another thing that came up last week, you and I were speaking about a reset.
Yeah.
What is a reset to you? We took a break from the podcast. It wasn't so much of a reset for us mentally because we were busy somewhere else. But both of us had a former boss who was quite big on giving us a personal reset every now and again. But, having a bit of a reset or catching yourself going down a bit of a negative path. You see it on social media. Everyone's about picking sides these days. And, people promote their side of things. There was a very good podcast out last week. One of our favorite guys, Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom podcast. Yeah. He was interviewing Sam Harris. So it was like a 3-hour podcast. And Sam Harris he's almost separated himself a bit from like the Rogans and Patrick Bet-Davids and all these guys over the past few years. And I also thought, this guy's become a bit of an idiot. But he was speaking about these echo chambers. I don't know if you've heard about, how, I know
I haven't really,
what is it?
Read into it, yeah.
So an echo chamber, particularly these days, if you look at all the algorithms on your social media and all the things you like and all the things, if there's a video that pops up and you spend a bit more time on that video or you listen to particular podcasts or all the rest, obviously you start listening to more podcasts of that same sort of message, or you start looking at more videos that promote the same message. And before you know it, you're
consumed by that one particular sort of thread. And
you're in this echo chamber.
Okay.
So whatever you're pushing out, you're getting back. So the more you push out, the more you get back. It just gets louder and louder and louder until such point where you actually think that how can anyone think something else? Because there's so much evidence to prove that your way of thinking is correct.
Yeah.
And that's what this echo chamber is. I mean, you still get morons out there that think that there are aircraft throwing out chemicals in the sky.
Oh, like the blue ice brigades. And
yeah, but you do. I mean, and the reason that's there is because that people can actually find stories that promote that level of thought.
Yeah.
So these echo chambers are important. But then it goes one step further. You're going to have this echo chamber situation regardless. So it's very important that you have a bit of an open mind. And if you are going to go down a path of motivation, health, your music, whatever, being fit. Don't go down something negative because, I can...
Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and it starts a chain reaction of note. I mean, you can find yourself, getting worked up and anxious very, very quickly, and surprisingly, it doesn't do you any good physically.
No, it doesn't.
It actually physically damages you. I've seen that. It's vitally important.
Yeah, your mental strain just goes up drastically with it.
Yeah.
Not very good. We've got some special mentions this week.
Yeah, so one of the first ones today, a massive happy birthday to Duncan Gillespie.
Happy birthday, Duncan.
Massive supporter of the podcast. He's always got some comments just about every single show, and we love that. And
we've become a bit reliant on Duncan's comment. If Duncan hasn't shot us a comment by sort of 8 o'clock in the evening, you start to panic. Right, Ryan, was today's episode shit? Why hasn't Duncan shot us a message yet?
No, but
happy birthday.
Yeah, so today, happy birthday, Duncan. Hope it's a great one, and may there be many, many more.
Many, many more. Next one, Zandre Dupria.
Professor X.
10,000 flight hours. Well done, Zandre.
Yeah, awesome, man. Good guy. And
Zandre he's a great guy. He's an excellent instructor.
Yes, one of our best. And man, 10,000 hours.
No small feat.
No. A lot of it on ATRs.
How many of those are on an ATR?
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, guys. We're going to try to do that on the show. If the guys post something about some achievement that they've done, personal achievement, please let us know so we can mention it on the show. I think it's quite a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
As long as it's aviation related. And yeah, man. Good to be here with you, pal. Both got a busy day ahead. Thanks for coming in nice and early.
100%, guys. No, wouldn't miss it. And looking forward to the next one. Take it easy. Have a good one.
Good weekend ahead, everyone. From our side, goodbye for now.
Ciao. 553 uniform, turn left heading 220 and contact Chicago departure. Left heading 220, contact departure, Scouts 553 uniform. United 204, fighting 270, 28 right, Echo cleared for takeoff. Okay, 28 right, and Echo cleared for takeoff, heading 270, United 204. Scout 5160.